On a calm autumn morning, October 13, 1917, the sun rose over the small Portuguese village of Fatima like it had countless times before. The countryside was soaked from heavy rains that had fallen throughout the night. Fields were muddy, skies were thick with clouds, and yet, despite the weather and the war-torn world they lived in, tens of thousands of people made their way to a remote field known as the Cova da Iria. Men, women, and children came. Farmers, scholars, skeptics, priests, journalists, some in search of faith, others in search of truth, and many out of sheer curiosity. They trudged through the mud, some barefoot, others soaked, clinging to hope. What brought them here was not a festival or a political rally, but a promise, a prophecy. For 6 months prior, 3 shepherd children had claimed to have experienced something otherworldly. Lucia dos Santos, just 10 years old, and her younger cousins, Francisco and Jacinta Marto, said they had been visited by a lady brighter than the sun. According to their testimonies, the lady appeared on the 13th day of each month since May in the very field where the crowds now stood. The children had been mocked, questioned, and even imprisoned. Yet they never wavered. Each month the lady's message had grown more urgent. Pray, repent, turn back to God, and offer sacrifices for the sins of the world. War was raging across Europe. Portugal was gripped by political unrest. Religion was increasingly pushed to the fringes. In this storm of chaos, the children claimed the Virgin Mary was speaking directly to humanity. Then, during the September apparition, the lady made a bold promise. She said that on October 13th, a great miracle would occur, so that all might believe. And so they came. Estimates range from 30,000 to more than 70,000 people. Even those who doubted came. Reporters from Lisbon, government officials, scientists, atheists, believers, entire families. Some traveled days to be there. Some wept in anticipation. Others scoffed. All looked to the sky. The rain poured relentlessly through the morning. It soaked clothing and blurred vision. The field had turned to thick sludge. Still, the crowd stood their ground, praying the rosary, waiting. Then, just after noon, something changed. Lucia reportedly cried out, "Look at the sun!" The clouds parted abruptly. The rain stopped. The sun, veiled behind gray mist for most of the day, suddenly broke through, shining brilliantly. But this was no ordinary sunlight. Eyewitnesses later described what followed as surreal. The sun took on a silver hue and began to spin, slowly at first, then faster. Its rays shifted into vibrant colors, blue, yellow, red, washing the landscape in hues unlike any had seen before. Trees, faces, clothing, even the muddy ground shimmered with rainbow tones. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Some fell silent. Others screamed. The sun, they said, was moving, zigzagging across the sky in impossible directions. Then it seemed to lurch downward, plunging toward the earth. People dropped to their knees. Many cried out in fear. Others begged for forgiveness, certain the world was ending, but it didn't. Just as suddenly as it had begun, the sun reversed course and returned to its place in the sky. The sky cleared. The ground, soaked and filthy moments before, was inexplicably. Charisine clothing, too, appeared untouched by the earlier rain. The miracle, if that's what it was, lasted roughly 10 minutes. But in that span of time, something changed. Dozens of journalists and skeptics documented what they saw. Some who had set out to debunk the event wrote with astonishment. One prominent Lisbon newspaper called it the most extraordinary natural phenomenon ever witnessed. Others admitted they had no scientific explanation. The sun cannot behave this way, they said. It simply doesn't. And yet, tens of thousands claimed it did. In the years that followed, the debate intensified. Was it a miracle? A mass hallucination? An atmospheric illusion? Scientists suggested it might have been a parhelion, a sun halo caused by ice crystals in the upper atmosphere. But that doesn't explain the movement, the color, or why people miles away, some not even aware of the event, claimed to see the same thing. Psychologists proposed the idea of collective suggestion, where belief and anticipation affect perception. But how does that account for those who didn't believe? Those who had come to mock and yet were shaken by what they saw? Even Carl Jung weighed in. He suggested that such experiences might touch something deep within the collective unconscious. Perhaps not evidence of an external miracle, but of an internal one, a manifestation of archetypal power, of something sacred buried within us all. But others disagreed. They believed what happened that day was real, supernatural, a sign from the divine, not just for Portugal, but for the entire world. A message of hope in a time of darkness. The church would later investigate. In 1930, after years of study, the Catholic Church officially declared the events at Fatima worthy of belief. The children's visions were affirmed. The miracle of the sun was recognized as genuine, though no doctrinal requirement was made to accept it. It remained, like all private revelations, a matter of personal faith. Francisco and Jacinta, the youngest visionaries, both died within a few years, just as the lady had said they would. They were later canonized as saints. Lucia became a nun and lived into her 90s. Her memoirs and testimonies remain central to the Fatima legacy. We may never know for sure, but whether miracle or mystery, the miracle of the sun remains, a powerful symbol of faith, awe, and the unknown. For some, it's a divine sign. For others, a psychological puzzle. For all of us, it's a reminder that some truths may still lie hidden, waiting to be discovered. Subscribe to The Hidden Library, where forgotten stories and unexplained wonders come to light.